Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we are going to replace the wick and wadding in this unmarked aluminum block petrol lighter. This particular lighter has been tinkered with quite a bit. Filled it up a few times and tried to see if it would work with the red flint that we use so often. We put a Dunhill blue flint in it yesterday and it still did not seem to work very well. Was seemingly exhibiting attributes of vapor lock. So we set it aside, and then this morning the wick, when it did light, was looking as though it was fuel starved, so I filled it up some more, and I think that the wick is just not structurally sound enough to support a flame like we need it to. It's got fuel in it. You can see how dirty the wick is. Got good spark. So we're just going to replace the wick and wadding. Should be easy enough in this particular model. There are two fuel chambers here with wadding in them. Whether or not it is necessary to switch all that out, I couldn't say for sure, but as long as we're in here, that's what we're going to do. There's one fuel screw. You can see the wadding down in that hole is a little darkish tone. I believe that the wadding down in this other fuel well is more cotton looking, rayon, whatever it is that you would typically think of. So we'll just go ahead and start here. Got our container here where we are going to preserve all this material when we are done. So we'll put the wick and the wadding into that Ziploc baggie. Get situated here. Well, there we got the wick. So that is a very dirty looking old wick. And you can see that the wick pulled out of there. So now let's just see if we can get all this wadding out. That is some really dirty old wadding. So maybe it wasn't necessarily that the wadding was darker. Maybe somebody had left some flint down in there that had degraded. People leave flint down in the fuel chamber of petrol lighters all the time. And that was all of that wadding. As you can see, the hole down through to the chimney, and really nasty. It may be the nastiest wadding I've ever pulled out of a lighter. Now let's see if we can get this auxiliary or back tank cleared out. And the wadding in there looks much cleaner. And now we've got all of that out of there. So simple enough to get all the wadding out. Can't really see down in there very good, but You get the point. Could see through the one that is got the wick chimney through there. You can see that light on the other side. So now that we've got it all cleared out, I am almost always going to attempt the easiest thing first, and without knowing exactly what diameter of wick we need, which would be best for this lighter, I'm going to try the IMCO wire lead wick. But before I put that down in there, I am going to go grab a disinfectant cloth and a toothpick and clear out this ignition area right quick. So we're just going to take a broken off toothpick here, place that inside of the disinfectant cloth. If you do this with a metal object like a pick or a screwdriver or something like that, you can scratch up the metal of your lighter. So that's why the toothpick. And it's probably not going to get 100% clean. We just want to clean it up as best we can. You know, I know that for some vintage lighter collectors, cleaning them at all is a no-no. But I, for one, am not a big fan of filth. So if I'm going to touch it and it can come off on there, then I'm probably going to clean that. I don't typically do a lot of polishing or anything to the finish, things like that. I'm just trying to clear it of the soot and carbon buildup that has occurred over time as the lighter has been used. So I'm not trying to take away any evidence of age or anything like that. Just trying to clean these lighters up and get them to work as well as I can. So that's going to be about good enough and way better than it was. The rest of that is just as much corrosion as it is dirtiness, I think. So now that we got it clean, get our IMCO wire lead wick, which should be simple enough to feed down through this particular lighter. Take your wire down into the chimney. Now you can see that the wick is resting there on those threads. You may need to bend that around a little bit to where we can get a hold of it with a pair of pliers. We should be able to get a hold of that just fine. Pull the wire with our pliers down through the chimney, and now ease it on down in there. And that seems to fit pretty tight, not overly tight, but definitely snug, which is the way we want it. That looks about the height that we need. So we will leave that just as it is. Get our scissors and cut off the wired end of the wick. Now it should be simple enough. With my naked eye, I can see just a small hole there going from one chamber to the other. So I don't think it really matters how we re-wad this. We'll go down this side without the wick first. Wadding straight down the bore. we're going to pack this in there a little more densely than it was before. That should be packed in there tight and dense enough. So now we will go with the other side. Take that wick down in there as we go. And now we'll hold it for just a second. And that is probably enough wadding. And now we can poke that all down in there. Maybe the tweezers work a little bit better for this. Get a hold of that. Force it all. Tear this off. Get our wadding all packed down nice and dense and in place. So there you see both sides packed nice and neat. Brand new wick right there in the chimney. We will get our Ronson fuel and fuel this lighter up. Well, we got fluid standing on that side. Not as much on this side. And with that hole going from one chamber to the other, you would think that it would at least somewhat share the fuel from one side to the other. Don't feel over wetness down here on the wick anyway. Squirt a little bit more in the side that was not as full. So now we got a little bit standing on both sides. We'll give that a minute to soak in. And then we will dump whatever is left. I think that's going to be about as well as it's going to absorb. So we'll dump the rest of this off camera. And we'll get our fuel screws back in place. Once I tighten these down with my thumb, it seems like I most often need a screwdriver to get them back open, but they are able to go down all the way with just my thumbnail being used in that screwdriver slot. So both of them tight. Still don't see a bunch of fuel leaking out up here. So hopefully we have this packed as nice and densely as it should be. Hopefully we got good fuel flow up to the chimney from that wick, and the Dunhill blue flint will hopefully serve us as well. Got spark. Now we have flame. So stay tuned for next time. You see the brand new wick. Looks like it's burning as it should. Not waning real quick like it was before. And we'll just see if we can get this to light more reliably and dependably on a regular basis. Until next time.